But since you're going over to Spring Bayou, I was going to tell you quick that I'm an amateur archaeologist. I'm famous for finding stone anchors in the area, big stones with holes in them from the fleet of Atlantis. And I found over 2,000 up and down the coast. So if you go over here to Spring Bayou, the indicators are, according to these stone anchors, that giants used to be here because the stone anchors are so big. And that would mean that the Atlantean coast was on the west coast of Florida. That would mean that Tarpon Springs, the central river of the west coast of Florida, would be the Arcadian river of Greek mythology, which would make Spring Bayou the spring of rejuvenating life.
Oh, right on.
Oh, that's interesting. That was a mouthful.
So that's where you'd want to go to see where Poseidon was creating mankind, if the Greek mythology is correct. And now we found the stone anchors that seem to indicate that the Greek mythology is the most correct of all those mythologies.
The Greek mythology is the most correct?
Yeah, I think so. Because we found the stone anchors on the west coast of Florida where Greek mythology said Atlantis would be found somewhere in the far west regions of the world. And then if you go just 7 miles north of here where Plato said Atlantis would be if you were near Eden, you go 7 miles away, 1,000 stadia. And that's Newport Richey. So when you're up there, videotape some of the stone anchors right along the road and in there in Gulf Harbors. And you'll see stones with holes in them, and you'll be amazed, you know, to realize that they're stone anchors from giant ships that were the size of oil tankers. And each ship would have about, 10 or 15 of these giant stones around it.
Now, you wouldn't have one of those stones around.
Yeah, you could go over here. Let's go out the front of the store. It's really amazing. There's so many. There's like, since we found so many stone anchors, that would mean that there's almost like 400 or 500 ships up and down the coast when a big wave came over the whole state of Florida. So that would have sunk Florida, making it look like Atlantis was sinking rather than a big wave was just coming over the state. Over here at the Wachovia building, on the far side of the building, there happens to be an array of about 4 or 5 of those stone anchors. You can go up and look in the stones and you can see the rope marks leading away from the holes to the sides of the stones, which indicate that they were tied through the holes with ropes from ancient times.
Wow,
so
that's
it
great.
kind of proves the whole theory that Atlantis was over here and that there were titans of Atlantis ruling the area, and then Tarpon Springs would be the area where all these goods were brought to the ships and loaded aboard the ships and sailed off to all parts of the world.
Oh.
That's basically why we have indigenous plants, animals, and beings all over the world, is that were seeded from a central place where they were doing some kind of genetic operation to terraform the earth. And these would be the Greek gods, and we've analyzed the Greek gods as being probably aliens from another planet.
Very interesting.
Isn't it?
Very interesting.
So, and I'm Johann Christian von Sax.
And
They
where
call
you?
me John Saxer, and I work here at the bike store.
And so, where were you from?
I'm from Wisconsin. I just happened to trip over this place. I was an amateur archaeologist. I have a patent in pyramid energy. I built pyramid beds. And when I came to Tarpon, I noticed there was an anomaly. They have the ceremony down at Spring Bayou that you'll get on the video a little later. You'll see the spring. They have 30,000 people around there. Every year is at January 6th for St. John the Baptist Epiphany Day. They throw in the cross. And I thought, well, that's a pretty neat place.
Is that where the high school kids
The
go
kids
die
died
for
for
it?
the cross, yeah. And I started to think about it. They lost the cross in 1927 and they were 8, and the stock market crashed right after they lost their cross. And so they thought it was a bad omen to lose the cross. And then they lost a couple people who were diving from over the years in 1975, I think. And then finally, I came down here in '92, and I was looking at the situation, and as an amateur archaeologist, I kept saying there's something weird about this place. And sure enough, if you look at a map from the air, you can see that the whole river system's been dug out, and you've got a picture of Poseidon's upper torso, and his hand is where Spring Bayou is. And then underneath him, he's got Atlas, and across from Atlas, there's Hesperus, his wife, and down behind Atlas, there's this dragon-shaped river. And the word Euphrates is an Atlantean word for dragon-shaped river. So Euphrates means the dragon-shaped river. It's just that it's over here. It's not over in Iraq or Iran.
And where is this dragon-shaped river?
It's the Anclote River. It was the Arcadian river of Greek mythology, and according to Greek mythology, they had this place, river carved out in Eden, just like in Judeo-Christian mythology. But in Greek mythology, they had an underground river, River Alpheus, that Poseidon had dug. So if you go up here to Lake Tarpon, there's a gate and a coffer dam that stops the water from flowing into an underground river that goes under the streets and under the city, and it comes out right here at Spring Bayou. So that's the River Alpheus in Greek mythology. And then the Arcadian River is the surface river. And then when Ponce de Leon got here looking for the Fountain of Youth, he renamed the river the Anclote River. Safe anchorage, Anclote means. So,
You're quite the historian.
yeah, I studied this stuff. They don't want to print it though, but you could put it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, for
Beat 'em
sure.
all out.
That's right.
No kidding.
And then, ironically, as it turned out, I was an amateur archaeologist, but it turned out I was also related to the royal line of Switzerland. So I was able to see these stone anchors for more than just stones with holes in them, because I had some royal lineage in me.
Oh,
So
there
I
you
was able to identify the stone anchors as the artifacts of Atlantis. Otherwise, it probably would have passed them by just like everybody else.
Oh no. Well, it's a good thing you didn't.
Well, now we know where Eden is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you believe it's right here?
It's Tarpon Springs. Go over to Spring Bayou, videotape these stones on the way over there. You just have to stop, a couple side stops. One at Wachovia, look at the stones and put your hands into the hole and see the stones, then go over to
You
Spring
can see
Bayou.
the rope marks on them.
Yeah.
Now, did you go to any university, or did you learn this all on your own?
I went to University of Wisconsin. I even went up there, tried to get them to accept a free stone from me, and I would get it delivered to the University of Wisconsin to prove that the stone anchors of Atlantis were down on the west coast of Florida. But the university professor at that time, his name escapes me.
It's a good thing. We don't want to.
But anyway, he didn't want to take it. I don't know why he didn't want to take it, but I just wanted the University of Wisconsin students to have a heads up on the fact that Atlantis was on the west coast of Florida, because we found the stone artifacts to prove it. And archaeology is the first science. So if you don't go by the first science, you're not going to be able to do anything.
So where do they believe that the Atlantis is?
All over the world, they believe, all different spots, but no spot has found 2,001 ton and over stone anchors up and down the coast.
Okay.
So this spot really identifies it in my mind.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely, I'm glad we ran into you. This was quite the bike ride and little stop here.
Yeah, and then we tell people all the time to either go down over here to Spring Bayou or go down the road here to Wall Springs. There's all sorts of classic history here. There's out on the islands, people have dug for treasure from the pirates of the, old days when they were around here. And then, of course, Ponce de Leon's fort, he was just out at the edge of the river here, just the north side of the river. He established a little colony here of 200 Spaniards that got wiped out by the Indians. So the area is really rich in history.
Wow. Good. Have you written any papers, like authored?
Lots of them. I'm on the internet. Switzerland's King. That's apostrophe S. Switzerland apostrophe S King. You can find me there. You can also find me.
How do you spell your first name?
I'm Johann. Johannn. And then there's Von, V-O-N, capital S-A-X.
Okay.
Johann von Saxer.
Okay.
And my dad's still alive, so I'm really just the Prince of Switzerland.
That's cute. Oh, that's great. I'm going to end it that way. You're the Prince of Switzerland with a lot of info. Love it.
Enough info to make people realize that this comes from real authority.
Yes, and
You don't usually get info from real authority. As it turns out, the Prince of Switzerland, the line goes all the way back to David, just as all the royal lines of Europe go back.
Wow, I should come back on this bike ride and get more like a second chapter.
Von Sax's name goes all the way back to Isaac, the father of Jacob.
It goes back to Isaac, the father. Oh, wow.
Von Sax. father to son through time.
This is awesome. We'll be back.
All right,
I'll have more questions.
good.
Okay, see
Thanks
ya.
for interviewing me. Put it on YouTube. Hi, everybody on YouTube.
And your name is again?
Johann von Sax. Johann Christian von Sax.
Great. Love it. Bye.
Bye.